Run Lola Run, directed by Tom Tykwer, is a high, visually innovative film that explores the themes of love, guilt, and the randomness of life through a series of adrenaline pumping sequences. The film's chaotic energy, fast pace, and vibrant aesthetic captures the essence of the late 90s culture, while its unique cinematic style draws from video game like narratives where each decision branches into new realities. Through its characters, relationships, and repeated scenarios, the film poses deep questions about love, fate, and the consequences of our actions. Hello, world, and welcome to Cinema Nostalgica, where we break down nostalgic hidden gems. Today, we will be discussing the movie Run Lola Run and why it resonates with people. Why do people love this movie so much? The movie opens with a quote that sets a physiological tone. The ball is round, the game lasts 90 minutes, everything else is pure theory. This soccer metaphor reflects the core message of Run Lola Run. Life is unpredictable, and while we may have control over some decisions, much of what happens is left to chance. Just like in a soccer match, where players can influence the game but not control every outcome. Lola is tossed into a high stakes situation with limited control. The movie asks us to consider the randomness of life and the effects of small choices on our futures. Cinematically, Run Lola Run feels like a whirlwind, moving at breakneck speeds while giving the audience a glimpse into alternative realities. In the film, Lola lives through three different versions of the same 20-minute period, with subtle changes in each one. For instance, in one scenario, she trips down the stairs, causing a cascade of different outcomes for everyone involved. Each choice she makes changes not only her fate, but also the fate of those around her, illustrated by the rapid flashes of the future lives of random people she encounters. These quick, jarring snapshots drive home the movie's point. Life can change in an instant, and one small action can set off a chain reaction of events, similarly to the movie like The Butterfly Effect. The movie also subtly explores guilt, as Lola's mad dash can be seen as a response to Mandy's guilt after losing the money. In a sense, both characters are trying to outrun their mistakes. But the film reminds us that no matter how fast we go, we cannot always escape the consequences of our actions. Whether Lola succeeds in saving Manny or not becomes secondary to the larger existential question: how much of life is within our control, and how much is determined by the forces beyond us? The film's aesthetic adds to the overall intensity of its narrative. Tykwer employs a soft club cyber Y2K look with an edgy undertone reflective of the late 90s. The German language and urban setting add layers to the authenticity and grit, while pounding techno soundtrack and fast-paced editing gives the movie a pulsating energy. Lola's flame red hair and fearless attitude makes her a contemporary version of Lilu from The Fifth Element, an action heroine ready to take on any challenge. Like characters from video games like Lara Croft or Crash Bandicoot, much like a video game character, Lola encounters different bosses she must conquer: her father, the gangsters, and the constraints of time itself. By the time Lola is shot, just 30 minutes into the film, the audience is already questioning whether she will survive and how the film will resolve. But then, in the narrative twist, the film rewinds, and we experience the events again, although they play out differently each time. This structure is reminiscent of movies like Memento and Crank, where time and reality become fluid. Each scenario presents a new version of events, showcasing the multiple possibilities that arise from every single moment, and hinting at the randomness of life itself. So let's quickly recap all three scenarios. In the first scenario, Lola runs to her father's bank and asks him for money, but at this time he tells her that he is not her father and to leave, and she goes without any money. Manny decides to rob a grocery store in desperation, and Lola arrives just when the robbery begins.
She learns how to use a gun and helps him commit the crime. However, the cops are already called, they surround them, and Lola ends up getting shot and dying at the end. The second scenario shows Lola again running to her father's bank, and at this time she ends up robbing the bank, taking her father hostage. She runs to tell Manny that she got the money, and just before Manny enters the grocery store to commit the robbery, he hears Lola and walks towards her. But as he's walking towards her, he does get hit by an ambulance, leading to his death. In the third and final scenario, it shows Manny being able to chase down the homeless man who took the $100,000. Meanwhile, Lola decides to gamble at a casino and ends up winning a large sum of money. Lola's dad is shown leaving the bank so Lola cannot confront him, but he does get into a car accident. The car accident occurs by the driver swerving, trying to avoid hitting Manny, chasing after the homeless man on the bike. And from what we can see, also dies from his injuries. It's like they level up with each experience. Both Lola and Manny survive in this scenario, but in every scenario, someone has to die. At its heart, Run Lola Run is a movie about love and the lengths one will go for it. Lola's frantic mission is triggered by her love for Manny, who forgets a bag of money on a train, a crucial mistake that could cost both of them their lives. The stakes are high, and the film explores how love can push people into desperate actions, like Lola sprinting through Berlin in an effort to save Manny from a disaster. Her determination evokes the question, what would you do for love? A theme echoed in various interactions throughout the film. Her relationship with her father is another crucial element of the narrative, bringing a toxic love story to the forefront. When Lola confronts her father, the tension reveals her insecurities and fear about the crumbling relationships in her life, romantic, familial, and otherwise. Her father doesn't just reject her in the one scenario we see, but he also reveals that he isn't even her biological father. This revelation adds another layer of emotional chaos to Lola's already fractured world. The scene where Lola eavesdrops on her father and his mistress implies that Lola might be projecting her own fears about her failing relationship with Manny is actually mirroring her own father's toxic entanglements. Her mother may also be engaged in some toxic entanglements, as we see her taking part in a not-so-innocent phone conversation while her husband is at work. And from Lola's dad's confession, she may have cheated on him with another man who is Lola's biological father. As Lola's life seems to spiral out of control, the narrative questions the stability of love and family. Ultimately, Run Lola Run is a commentary on how life is filled with uncertainties, much like love. Both are unpredictable, shaped by the decisions we make, but also by the random intersections of chance. Life can be fast, it can be chaotic, and it could turn on a dime, just like in the film, where a small trip on the stairs changes an entire course of events. The lesson Run Lola Run teaches us is to slow down and recognize that while we may try to control our fates, some aspects of life are just beyond our grasp. Through its video game adjacent aesthetic, its portrayal of love's desperation, and its exploration of guilt and fate, Run Lola Run leaves a lasting impact on its audience. Its fast pace, vibrant style, and deep physiological undertones make it an unforgettable cinematic experience. It forces us to reflect on the fragility of life and the extent to which love can motivate us to defy all odds, even time itself. So let's go in a little deeper. Why do people love it? For one, it's its innovative narrative structure. The film's unique structure, where the same story is told 3 times with different outcomes depending on small changes in events, fascinates us. This exploration of fate, chance, and the butterfly effect makes it a compelling watch. Number 2, it has high energy pacing. The film is fast paced with a relentless sense of urgency that mirrors Lola's desperate race against time. The rapid editing, the intense soundtrack, which we will get into, and constant motion keeps viewers on the edge of our seats.
It's very action-packed, and even though for the majority of the film we are only seeing Lola just run the entire time, but it also just quizzes us and it makes us aware that we don't know how it's going to end. We go through three different scenarios, but which one is the truth? Which one really happened? It really is a mind game that the director is playing on us in this film. With its alternate endings, essentially like again a video game, we get to choose our own ending. We get to decide which of the three scenarios is the truth and which one really happened. Number 3 is the visual style. The director's use of split screens, animation, and vibrant colors contributes to the film's distinct visual style. These elements, combined with dynamic camera work, create a visually stimulating experience. And let's not even get into the memorable soundtrack. It perfectly complements the film's energy, and it's become iconic in its own right. The music drives the action and enhances the tension throughout the movie. There's also a lot of philosophical themes. The film touches on deeper physiological themes such as free will, destiny, and the impact of seemingly insignificant decisions. This all adds layers to the meaning of what could otherwise be seen as just a simple thriller. And then, of course, we have our leading lady, Franca Potente, who has an incredibly strong performance. Her portrayal of Lola is both intense and relatable. Her determination, fear, and love are palpable, making her character one that audiences root for. And then we have the cultural impact. Run Lola Run becomes a defining film of the late 1990s and a significant example of the innovative storytelling techniques that emerged from European cinema at that time. It influenced numerous filmmakers and remains a reference point in discussion about nonlinear narratives in films. And of course, we can't forget the fashion and its cyber grunge aesthetic and how it contributed to the overall aesthetic of the 1990s. The cyber grunge fashion is also pivoted against the techno music. It plays a pivotal role in defining both the visual and musical style of the films and the identity of its lead character, Lola. We know that she's edgy, that she lives life on the edge, that she's a little grimy too. She's just a street kid, maybe from a prominent family, but otherwise we just see her as an average teen just doing whatever they can for the love of their life. And the fashion helped identify her as such. It really made it relatable to young teens or older teens, people in their 20s and 30s, to relate to her in a certain way. We know that she probably goes to raves too and maybe plays video games. We just know that she's cool. Lola is the aesthetic of cool. I always remember Lola's waist belt with her little pouch as such a staple to her outfit. Of course, there was also her red hair, but that belt bag was everything to me. I will be doing a separate video on the 1990s soft club aesthetic or cyber grunge fashion that is shown in Run Lola Run and other movies that came out during this period. So if that does pique your interest, make sure to subscribe to that channel so you can be aware of when I post it. I will, though, add that Lola's fiery red hair is perhaps the most memorable element of her appearance, and it becomes emblematic of her character's intensity, urgency, individuality, and of course, love. The red hair can be seen as a symbol of her fiery determination and love, battling with her inner turmoil as she races against time to save Manny. Red represents love, danger, passion, both central themes in the film. Visually, her hair stands out against the grittier, muted tones of the urban landscapes that we see her sprinting through, making her a focal point in every single scene. The boldness of the red also aligns with the 90s fashion trends, where striking hair colors became a statement of rebellion against mainstream culture and media. We have to talk about the toxic love between Lola and Manny, which serves as the emotional core and driving force of the entire movie. Their relationship propels the entire narrative, and Lola's desperate high stakes chase through Berlin is motivated by her deep love for Manny and her determination to save him from a life or death situation. The film's exploration of love goes beyond simple romantic devotion. It delves into the lengths of what one would do for love, the sacrifices one makes, and the emotional weight that love carries. Manny does have a lot of faults in this film, and I think he is one of the most toxic boyfriends that could ever have been shown in this movie. Because in the moment of panic, he calls Lola, his girlfriend, for help. He forces her into a situation that she can't really win from. She is put with her back against the wall and has to make crucial decisions that Manny, being a man, actually needs to make for himself. He lost the bag of money. He has to get himself out of this. They're not married, but their love for each other is evident. But I do wonder if Manny is very toxic and is just kind of using Lola, just knowing that she will do anything for him. And in the three scenarios, we see Lola risking her life and actually dying in one of the scenes, risk her freedom by taking her dad hostage and robbing a bank, and then we see her under extreme stress in the casino. In the last scenario, we get another insightful glimpse into their relationship. Lola shows up with her casino money, and Manny also has the money he took back from the homeless man. But the nonchalantness of his attitude is actually infuriating. I hate the scene where he just goes up to Lola so nonchalant because he got the money back, and he's just standing there like, oh, hey, you showed up. Thanks. I think it's very reminiscent of what many girls go through when we are just trying our very hardest and our very best to show up correct and be the best or perfect girlfriend for some guy or for some loser. And this is just a prime example of that. The urgency of Lola's actions throughout the films highlights the intensity of her love. She literally risks everything, her safety, her sanity, her life, just to save him. This kind of love is raw and also very reckless. But it also showcases Lola's unwavering commitment. The fact that the film resets and replays the same sequence of events multiple times with different outcomes emphasizes the very idea of love. Much like life, it's full of uncertainties and second chances. Each time Lola runs through the city, she faces different obstacles, but the core motivation remains unchanged. She is running to save the man that she loves. And at this point, I would ask the question, would Manny do the same for her? Would Manny actually run through all of these events, risk his life for Lola? If Lola was in a sticky situation, would Manny show up for her? Or is this just a one-sided toxic relationship? And that brings me to my next point and the film's most profound question. What would you do for love? Lola's actions are clear. She will do anything for her love. Her devotion to Manny is unconditional, and despite the challenges and dangers that she faces, she will never hesitate. The film plays with the idea that love is like a game itself, a video game, if you will, full of unpredictable twists where one wrong move can lead to a disaster. But the stakes remain the same, and the stakes are very high. But Manny's life depends on Lola's success, and as we see, her life is also on the line. And in very similar circumstances, are you willing to put your life on the line for love? Essentially, that is what you are doing when you are opening up your heart to love, trust, depend on someone else. These characters are obviously very young and they probably have a lot to learn in life. And I would be really surprised if, again, if this movie was in real life, if Manny and Lola have what it takes to stick it out together. As from what it seems, once you are in that position to give your entire life for a man or your entire life for a girlfriend or a boyfriend, things could get very chaotic. And putting your mental health and safety on the line to save someone else from their stupidity or to try to make up for your or their mistakes, it just leads to a lot of toxicity and aggression and ultimately resentment. I wonder if Lola will resent Manny for making her go through what she went through.
I mean, during these events, we even see her fall out with her father. All of that would never have happened if Manny didn't put her into this situation. So, again, I just wonder, will Lola be able to confidently pursue this relationship, or will she have so much resentfulness in her heart that she can't even make it through and breaks up with Manny shortly after? This constant shifting of outcomes speaks to the unpredictability of love and life. Just as Lola's actions ripple out and change the future of random strangers she encounters, her relationship with Manny is the subject of the whims of fate. In the final scenario, when Lola finally succeeds in acquiring the money, there is a sense that love has triumphed, but only through sheer determination and luck. Their reunion at the end of the film is quiet but powerful. After all the chaos and running around, they stand together and their love has survived, stronger for the ordeal. I'll be honest with you, after watching this movie and seeing Lola do all of this work, and again in the final scenario, she ends up winning the money at the casino, I just really hope that Lola actually leaves this relationship and goes and finds another man or just be with herself for a while. Does some emotional healing, she looks into herself and ends up leaving Manny. Manny is reckless. For one, he left the money on the train, asked his girlfriend for help to pick up the pieces, actually blames her for being late and gaslights her and thinking it's her fault because she didn't show up to the meeting place on time. In the other scenario, we see him actually trading the gun that he has with the homeless person who is probably mentally deranged and will cause harm to other people with that gun. So all of this just shows that Manny is immature. He lacks the emotional and intellectual development of making good decisions and being on code. He is not doing what he needs to do. He's obviously doing illegal activities, so he's even stupid for being wrapped up in that. I just hope that Lola sees that her life with Manny will be endless amounts of chaos. How many times has this situation happened? We see in 3 scenarios about this one situation, but in my mind, I think that Lola and Manny has been through this time and time again, which is probably another reason why she was so quick to act. She's done this before. She saved him out of his own stupidity and reckless actions before. And you know what? It's going to happen again. In conclusion, the love between Lola and Manny is the emotional heartbeat of this film. It's the catalyst for the entire plot. Does Manny love Lola as much as she loves him? We'll never know. But this chaotic, adrenaline-fueled narrative offers a raw and unfiltered look into the power of love, showing that love, much like life, is uncertain and unpredictable. Thank you so much for watching this video, especially if you made it to the end. Please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel, especially if you like nostalgic deep dives like this one. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.